Welcome back.
You as well.
How you been?
Good,
Yeah.
good. It's kind of like October's. I'm excited to get in October. I mean, my birthday's coming up.
When's your birthday?
October 2nd.
Oh, just a couple days, maybe.
We're getting there.
Depending on when they see this.
Depending on when they see this.
Dude, that's cool. No, that's good. That's good. That's exciting. 23.
Yeah. Basically,
Oh,
23.
Hi. Who invited you guys here?
Hello.
This isn't how we get things done.
Yeah, guest spots.
Guest here, just yeah.
Okay, I'm not helping
animals in the
situation.
cannabis industry, hey?
Yeah, how does that work?
Out. You just want to play.
CBD for dogs.
Out you go. Out you go. Out you go. Out you go. Can you lay down?
I could just sit.
You're an animal.
You can love me.
Oh, welcome to the home studios, hey? All right, out we go. Out we go. That's a great, wholesome way to start the show, hey? There we go. He's like, he doesn't even like his animals. He just kicks them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
How dare they?
So, what are we smoking today, man?
Well, I think it's probably for the best if we go back to a flower again.
Yeah, last couple, we were smoking concentrates, infused joints and concentrates.
Yeah, there's this Regal Arc that I really want to check out. It's supposed to be just over 30, and it looks pretty nice.
Okay.
Pretty,
And who makes it?
pretty
Regal?
nice. Regal.
Where are they out of, do you know?
Yeah, Ontario.
Ontario, eh?
Yeah.
I do enjoy having all the different, selections, man. Like Ontario, BC. We had something out of Saskatchewan there. What was it, Jewel, I think? That looks great. Holy man, it's dense.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Like
it's got like a peppery.
They're nothing like
smell to
huge in size of the buds, but they are exceptionally dense. Exceptionally
very
dense. So I'm
dense.
just,
Like, I
like
could-
sprinkling
this is a
things
weapon.
everywhere. Yeah, you can whip somebody in the head with that.
There's probably quite a few in there. Eh? Seems a bit, maybe a little dry, but it could be just because it's just the outside and it's so dense.
I think it's just indicative of it. Yeah.
Wow, let's
Because
get.
it's a 7 gram, so there's realistically that's
What is that,
that's
quarter?
quite-
Yeah, it's not bad. Yep.
Yeah,
7
right?
grams quarter, right? Yeah.
So for the amount that's kicking in there. Bust some of it up.
I wish I had a
Some of
little
it up.
tool.
There you go.
You know how you always get weed in the center of your grinder?
Oh, I'm poking it out. Oh, it gets the concentrate there. Set that on that desk.
Oh, right in front of the main cam there. There we go.
I
Nowhere.
pondered the ability for like stores. I mean, I can speak for this province to a degree anyways, to maintain. In other provinces, there's some different structures and they're not allowed any diversity in what they sell.
Mhm.
So obviously that makes it exceptionally competitive in terms of pricing and such. It allows us a little bit more diversity in offerings here because we can do special things. And there's guys that are really developing convenience stores in a cannabis out method. And they are a dispensary and a hub. There's this one place downtown that
Winnipeg.
yeah, in Winnipeg, downtown Winnipeg. Yeah, that's mentioned where I'm actually talking about. And they opened as a dispensary, and downtown, nice little location, and then continued to just run with and develop this idea of being a grocery store. Downtowns almost ubiquitously are food deserts, right? Like there's no grocery stores, no access and stuff like that. So there was that need there, and then they were able to kind of grow into that, and it became a market and has continued to grow from that as well too.
I need a strong girl to open this for me.
Yeah, she's really threaded on.
Yeah.
And I think that you can see more of that coming, and I like that because that resembles more of something that wow
Can you carry a conversation
of the Amsterdam marketplace where this is this diverse place, and no, they're not just measuring it out for me out of a big jar, but I also like the fact that like 30 other people haven't touched it. We're just gonna keep ignoring the fact that we can't get this grinder open.
Continue.
We don't stop this episode until we get to smoke something out of this grinder. It'll be a thing.
No, you make some good points. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Providing a service where you regularly wouldn't find that service, right?
Yeah, and like I think what it does too is it creates this incredibly diverse market that like it allows. I think where we generally ignore the prairies in this country for things. Yep. And I think that what it's going to do is, you know, whether we're going to be the biggest sellers of it, I think what it's going to do is allow us to continue to build out the regulatory, infrastructure that's going to give us something that, hey!
You loosened it
for me. You're welcome. Well, we're going to get to do some neat things maybe before the provinces get to.
Right.
Because there's just like, you're already doing these 8-10 different things. Yeah, my hands are just like killing me. We're already doing these different things. Everybody's trying new stuff, doing inventive tents at festivals, or not even tents, but like cool dome structures is a really neat place. Fiddlers, their second fiddle. One of the things that they're doing now, they got this like really neat dome with all these LEDs and stuff, and they build it at the festival, and then they can sell weed out of there within the festival grounds and stuff.
Okay.
So, the regulating bodies, you see that? Okay, yeah. The regulating bodies are like allowing us to do those type of like a beer vendor at a gardens ground situation. So that's starting to develop.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Right, because that's just we're just gonna get more of it.
Yeah,
that's just more of that's going to happen, and
I like the.
We're going to push more into it.
Beer gardens is a thing, right? So the weed garden.
The more of these companies that get the opportunities to do it, and then it also becomes a thing where that is going to normalize the consumption at the site too. So if you're at some outdoor festival and they have a weed selling truck, are you going to feel like the social pariah when you light up a joint chilling with your friends on the grounds? No, because you bought it right there, right? Yeah. Like nobody's bugging anybody walking around with a drink. And so that I think is just really cool. And that's that's happening in this province. There's going to be, on an alcohol side in this, in Winnipeg, so I guess provincially, there's this beer cart that's got kegs with like craft beers and stuff on it. And then people have to like pedal. And they're sitting around and they do this like tour through downtown where they're sitting.
And they smoke the whole time?
No. It's for drinking beer.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Yeah, no, it exists.
Right. No, I mean, like, could you then have a beer and smoke a joint?
Oh, that would be nice too. But that's what I'm saying is like, we're already letting people, like outside consumption is already generally regulated quite a bit. And these people can do these tours and just drink and like bike around town with like another dozen people and stuff, right? Like that's really interesting. And if we start to, if they continue to get more comfortable with those ideas on that side, and we continue to show like, look, we're doing these vendors and they're not having any issues here, you're not having any issues over here, everything's happy.
It sounds like so much fun.
It's like that's where that's when it's gonna be fun, is when I can go to other things and I don't even have to think. Like, I'd like the idea of dropping the travel case,
right?
Because how often, unless you're doing special things, how often do you prep your alcohol to go on a night out when you're going to a restaurant or, going to a hockey game or something like that? Yeah. Right? Like you're generally, there are times. I'm gonna eat and drink at the restaurant. We're gonna grab some drink at the bar across the street.
Not bringing a flask.
Yeah, like that. No, right. Like,
but there is the flask does exist.
Yeah.
So,
like, I think it's just not as common, right? Like you're not. I'm not. Whereas in like I have to. Do I have a vape pen, or how many joints do we rolled? All this stuff where I'm thinking like I have to make sure I accommodate myself. I'm not gonna have to, because we're gonna go to the thing and I can just get the thing I want. Yeah. Or an equivalent thing that's gonna keep me happy. Like I want cannabis beverages at stadiums and stuff so bad as an option. Just so that I'm like, if I'm going to spend the money, I'll spend the money on that. Right. And drink a few of those while I'm doing that.
God, I couldn't imagine the cost of those though, man. Like how much those are going to cost.
You're already paying $20 for a beer. What is, like.
Right. So how much is this?
It's going to be bad. If I'm going to pay the absurd price, at least want it to be something that I want to consume. Yeah.
Like a beer, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I drink beer. It doesn't taste good.
No, I've never been much of a fan. So it's just that getting into the spaces where it's normalization by convenience. That's the stuff where we get things moving, I think. That's where the fun starts to happen, where a lot of the mixed use places start to, because people discover things that way. People like to shop in physical spaces where they get to get something out of being there. Otherwise, they're buying by price, and you want to get something cheap online, right? So it's like having the places that are not based off of convenience and such that can offer a little bit more. You can grab a couple other things. They become your little neighborhood stop. Like that sounds more like the old dream
Right.
than just like
The most ideal situation.
a big commercial dispensary.
Right.
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 Yeah, that's the close to the cafes as I thought we were gonna get.
Right.
And knowing that we're still gonna keep pushing it to get further anyways.
To get those cafes.
Yeah, like consumption sites and stuff. Like, things are gonna happen inevitably to certain degrees.
You think so?
We're gonna
I
because
sure
like
hope so. I
talking
sure
about
hope so.
getting edibles or beverages
Right. It
at
can.
stadiums and stuff like that. I think that's how does that not happen eventually?
Right,
Like
right.
it's gonna. I think there's no way that it doesn't eventually happen in restaurants and stuff.
Right. Right.
There's an appetite for it.
You're right. It's just yeah. I would love to see it too. Yeah, I would love to see it too. You know, we never thought we'd see, you know, it's not that we never thought, but you know, when we legalized in 2018, it was just flower.
Yeah,
Then
very very little offerings outside of. Yeah,
we all knew that it would have to be bigger than that because there's so much more industry behind that. Then the edibles came, and then the concentrates came, and or whatever order it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll definitely get to a system like that. I can't wait till the day where we can take a tour and smoke a blunt and drink a beer on a bike and just pedal down in LA or something like that.
Yeah, like
Community bike. That sounds fun.
community bike
That sounds fun.
Yeah, doing the tour, getting high at the same time. You know what? I think honestly, the way they've been so far about a lot of that stuff, I'm pretty sure if somebody had the willingness to do it and putting it together, it would be something that would get done.
We'll do it.
Yeah, we're motivated.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. I'd love to do that.
A lot of biking.
There's a ton of different avenues I'd like to take too. I would love to bring like my own weed to market someday. That's a big thing for me too. I think that would be a way to ensure quality, and just that way people could know that at least you can count on this, and the price is going to be there, and quality is going to be there, and yeah, that would be the most ideal.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, I've asked questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the last episode. You had a house blend that you brought in.
Yeah. We're just
how was that,
off,
man?
hopefully.
For like going like from starting from like this from an idea to conception, how does that work? Can anybody do that?
No, that's been having a good relationship with somebody and getting like them be willing to like take my crazy idea and work with me on something. And you know, just a much bigger swinger than I am, but relative in that space. And he's just, you know, a good guy in that sense, and wants to give that opportunity where he thinks that there's some insight. And so trying to like put the thing together, get him some parameters to work around for getting the stuff we need, making sure it's going to be what we want. And like that process was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of uncharted territory because you're just doing stuff that's not really happened. It's really hard to do that type of stuff. Not a lot of companies are willing to take those steps on an account really that small, right? So it's been a nice thing where we can kind of like try to pilot this out, see what we can get going, see if I can have a good understanding of what we're really looking for, and then dial it in for what the shop's looking for. And that's what's kind of exciting. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. How we grow it. It's going to take some time, but
for sure, and you'll flesh it out, all the issues out. But did you have to choose like percentage, the smell?
Yeah,
color?
I kind of gave him some parameters of like, this is where we want to start with. These are the ranges of numbers we want to work within. So as long as it falls somewhere within these numbers, percentages, percentages, all that, and effect really too. And so like this first thing is a little bit more of that punch hybrid where you've got that, like, it's got a great kick to it, but it's more of an uplifting. This is something you can be creative on and enjoy, but
Yep.
it's got that punch to it, because I
Yep.
always like that, an
Yep.
energetic indica,
Yep.
if you will, realistically. And it's something that just has that I wanted to be like, that's a good overall coverage. It's a good experience. Your value on that one's
Yep.
good. And then we're gonna keep trying some new things and seeing what else we can do with it. But it's, that's something, we've talked about, and hoping for this too is
Right.
getting it to something like that as well too, and talking about it and working it out, because then it's like you're saying, we can make sure that it's hitting the notes that we think that actually need to hit to make it the value for the dollar and what's getting going. And you might not be able to control all those other things, and to be able to do it myself, I can't just open up a grow and make
Right,
that happen.
right.
Like
Slightly difficult.
yeah, it's a very difficult thing to do
Some
and do
things
well.
involved.
There's a couple things and the dollars, and so just having this opportunity is just something that I really so excited to
Yeah,
have,
no
because I hope it continues to work out, because I think we can turn it into something that, like, it's going to be a brand people can trust kicking around, at least.
Yeah, so you're hoping to make it a line?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a handful of different.
Have like some indica, some sativa,
yeah.
maybe a 1-in-1, and
Yes, yeah, actually that was
pre-rolls.
CBD stuff is another thing we've talked about too, because it's another big miss. So being able to have that as an offering that
Yep.
we've got some control over as well too,
Yep.
and that we can kind of rely on that same thing as well. Hitting those like keynotes. That's what everything with this line is about, is just taking those cornerstones of the lineup and just trying to like make sure they're covered, and that there's that like consistency for price kicking around for it. And then let the magicians do what they do on the craft
Yep.
side, and all that other
Yep.
stuff to fill it
Yep.
out, right?
That's sweet, man. That's
Yeah.
sweet, and we saw it. I remember last week there, I was taking a look at it, and yeah, it looks really good. Had it up under the loop. It was dense. It smelled real nice. It looked like it was good quality bud. Color was good. Smoked really good.
Yeah, getting into I'm excited to see what opportunities there are in like a lot of the concentrate stuff as well too, with getting into, vape carts are so ubiquitous now, and the convenience of them, and then same thing, having that where there's like that consistency offering would be amazing to get into. That's another one as well. And like even more over edibles is beverages. I really like that category for some reason.
What?
And I don't even use them that much, but like I still just think that like it can be a great thing.
It's untapped.
Yeah.
So much potential there.
And there are, look
No
at, was
smell.
it BioSteel just filed for bankruptcy or restructuring, whatever it was?
Yeah,
Canopy's
canopy
energy
growth
drink.
drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hydration beverage.
Yeah. They just bought into it. It wasn't really theirs.
Even their offerings, they were one of the biggest with beverages, and like they just don't really have anything available anymore. So it's really narrowed down to a handful of companies right now, and stuff like Jones launched. I haven't heard anything since, but I remember them a couple of years ago, even now, launching in California first.
Okay.
And they were doing gummies. They looked like the So Delicious gummies.
Of course.
And they were doing their root beer, their cream soda, and I think the orange and green apple off the hop. They had 4 that they were doing,
Infused.
but they were going to do, and all infused. And I'm like, oh, there we go. Finally, a company that like actually understands the beverage company, not a cannabis company becoming a beverage company, the other way around, right?
Right.
I mean, you can say that. I can only say that to an extent, because there's guys like Labatt and such that got, was it Labatt or Molson?
Which one?
Molson with those beers, and with owning, they're one of the part owners in one of the companies. I think it's those Mallows that they're in, and they're like they have like
I don't think I know.
a lime beer and a few other ones too.
Okay.
But yeah, like having somebody like that step into the space, I'm like, that's gonna change it, because the vast majority of them started out, it was all water seltzers, and I'm like, doesn't seem like it's that big of a part of the market, and they all taste like crap.
Right.
And you can taste the concentrate like crazy, and we're seeing more of like getting these unique, like just half decent pot flavors and some good mixed flavors and such, but like a Jones cream soda
Would just be fire.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Especially infused.
Yeah, like once
And
the
there
big
is
beverage
something
companies
in
pay
those.
attention to that stuff, it's going to become even more useful, and I imagine that should help with pricing on it too.
Oh, for sure.
To get the price down on them.
Especially when they're already making drinks.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm
it's
saying.
not
Like
yeah,
in
yeah.
mass and have
Yeah,
distribution
yeah,
and have
yeah.
all these
You're
other
not starting
pieces.
from scratch.
No. So you'd think that that would be something that would just benefit by scale. Unfortunately, I think that but it also what that does is leave space for craft drink makers maybe, because then it's something where the it's either the one or the other scale. That there's not a lot of middle ground.
Right.
You're either craft excellent doing this thing that's amazing, or you're a very large business. It seems that's
Yes.
the way it's been going anyways,
That's
right? So
what we see.
that's yeah, like that seems to be how it's been going for the most part.
Yep.
So I don't know, it's hard to say.
Huh? It's exciting nonetheless. You know, I would love to be able to oversee something. If I had the ability to do my own genetic, where it's like I got to oversee, it's like I would want something that has like I want some fuel, like I want a gassy, some funk, like a smell. I like that kind of funky.
I have somebody that does a lot of genetic stuff that I should get you in contact with.
That'd be a good start. Yep, that'd be a good start. I would. But then again, it's like I also want it to have like possibly like some sweeter undertones, and definitely want it to have a solid terp profile. THC doesn't matter to me in terms of how much or how little, because I think it's all about everything together. I imagine it would probably range in about the 20 to 24%, all in all. As long as it had those other effects as well, because I want to be able to appease to as many people as possible. And one thing I don't want is someone to try and be like, oh, it's too strong. You know, I like strong.
It's about having an enjoyable effect and sitting in that middle ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I also want, and the same thing is like I also want to have people over. There's just some stuff people won't want based on whatever profile is undesirable.
That's the last thing you smoke tonight.
Right.
Yeah. That takes a lot of the fun out of it.
That's it. Yeah. So it would be really exciting to be able to pick my own grow, and I would be really excited to be able to walk into a garden somewhere and to be able to just, over the course of the 4 to 6 months it's going to take to grow it out, just to like, love that, not a huge fan of those, take this, like that'd be fun, especially if I wasn't growing it, to be able to guide somebody to get that perfect product.
Push in the direction. Yeah.
Man, that'd be fun.
There's only so much you can give the brain power to and stuff anyways,
right. Because I guess on mass, it doesn't matter if it's like, if it's good train, like if it's easy to train or anything like that, because you're going to have a bunch. And they're probably only going to bear per plant a few ounces anyway. So it's like, if you have a sea of green, I'm not going to have to train a whole bunch, or it'd be simple. So I guess it wouldn't matter how it grew, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But then again, if I'm then gonna sell the genetics part of it, then I do care how it grows, because I want something that's going to be malleable, something that's going to be resilient, something that's going to grow, in a multitude of climates, and then something that's going to produce at the same time. And yeah, that would be exciting. I'm itching to get into breeding. Almost there. I haven't showed you the garden actually.
Oh,
But,
we're gonna have to do that after.
yeah.
We just told him a second. No, just kidding.
Yeah, right. Just a moment of your time. Yeah, no,
We'll
but
be right back.
a few moments later.
I'm interested in where, like we were talking earlier about like the multi-use format with stores and stuff. Like that's why Farmgate it appeals to me. It seems both very difficult to pull off, because if you look how hard it is in the growing space, it seems to make money. Period.
What's Farmgate?
Like that's where you have a store attached to a grow.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be nice to have that, just because it seems like it's close to a craft brewery situation.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's what appeals to me is the fact that it just seems like a lot of fun. Like that would be really neat to have, and just to be able to as a business. But is it as viable or something because of how complex the growing world is and everything? That part's pretty tough. But
yeah,
it just seems like such an appealing model. You get to have your customers get to see the plant. Right, the exposure to it all the time. Yep. It's just like walking in and seeing the giant stills and stuff at a craft brewery, or going to a winery. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It just that getting that connection with people and allowing the ones that really want to get involved in the culture and stuff to have a place to do that, right? You can go to vineyards.
Totally.
You can go to these craft beer places throughout your city.
Check through the glass wall at the dispensary and see poor Thomas back there working
There
hard.
he is, picking.
There he is. He's doing a little picking. He's smoking.
Yeah,
He's smoking.
it's just the ambiance
really
of it,
cool.
everything. Yeah, I just think it gives you this really neat and again attaching a multitude of other things off of that too, where this becomes this community comfort space where there's just some normalcy to it that you normally aren't getting out of other places, especially if you have to go to like that place specifically. And I like that too because it's also, even though they're age gated, it kind of takes the edge off of like you go to a liquor store and it's just so you're going there to get that specific thing.
Yep.
You're getting the poison, right?
Yep.
And so now if you're like going there and you grab a couple other things, you're grabbing some snacks, there's like something else going on while you're doing it too. It feels like it's more part of just the stuff you need to survive.
Right. Yeah. Weed is definitely something that I need to survive.
Yeah. Gotta go pick up some milk and eggs.
Yeah. Milk, eggs, weed, and toilet paper.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah. Build it up on it. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting as it continues to build out what we're going to be able to get in terms of like offerings of stuff, because the product is just, the quality should only get better.
Well, it has.
Yeah,
it
like,
has
drastically.
Yeah, I was gonna say tenfold. Drastically is great. Yeah, no, it's from 2018 to where it was the green rush to get stuff out on the street versus the stuff we have now is night and day. And it's funny because the price, even regular dispensary price, we're still paying a fraction of the price for it than places like America.
Oh, right.
When I show like some of the stuff that I get, and they're like, "What? How much was that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then Rob was showing me how much he got, and it was just shake. It wasn't even shake. It was like leaf matter. It was horrible. Wow. And I'm just, and they're like the stuff that they're charging, or stuff they're getting away with charging for is just ridiculous. But here, our stuff is pretty damn good, generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, there's a variance, of course, depending where you're getting stuff,
right,
and what have you. It's not like everything's amazing.
No.
Sometimes you have to look, but I'd say that there's a lot of options out there.
When we went to LA, going to like Jungle Boys and stuff, and Planet 13, like the stuff at those places it was definitely not as good as the stuff that we had here. It was like kind of like just meh, regular. It
was fine.
Yeah. And it was like, if I'm going to these kind of names and these kind of establishments, I was hoping that I'm going to get something good, But then again, I also feel as a home grower, my expectation is just slightly above averagely high. And that can definitely kind of taint my palate slightly, because price like hits me right away. And if I'm looking at an eighth
from nothing to paying something is always a sticker shock.
Huge. Yeah. And it's especially when it's like, I know I can grow something like that for a fraction of that price. Right. Yeah. And it's just, it's like
skill comes into play with that.
It totally does.
That's a big piece.
But not a lot of skill. It takes some dedication, time, patience, of course, and money. But I still think people anoint or pedestal the stuff that comes in a plastic bag versus even if you were like, nah, I can't grow it. I'm like, yes, you can. You can, and you'll do great about it, because it's not as hard as you think. It really isn't. It's a weed, for crying out loud.
Yeah. There's a little bit of, you're gonna get something out of it if you do all the base care things.
Yeah.
The quality. There's a large variance on what you can do with it, and that's where the skill pieces come into.
Right.
But it is going to exist if you give it the basic necessities.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. Well, it'll be neat to see what ends up playing out with, if we ever get. I'd like to hear more about it. People in other provinces, realistically, just with like how their grow situation works too. Like, how does that play into their interaction when they can go to a place and just pick up clones? I think it's Alberta and BC does that for sure.
Yeah, as far as I don't know where else it can get away with it.
Yeah.
Man, I know. It's like, darn it.
Yeah, like I know we've touched base on that a little bit too, but I just like to see how that kind of like plays out with. Is it something that gets utilized lots? Like, is it something that is actually people are finding their way to home growing because of it? Because
I don't think so.
like accessibility, the amount, like the vast majority of cannabis smokers are new users in the legal space, right? Like it is quite a few people that are just getting on the board and generally in non-burnable ways, right? Outside of flower and pre-rolls,
right?
But a lot of convenience in the pre-roll section is exceptionally popular. But so it's like, does that flow over into the growing sector where people were just like, so. It's there? Yeah, because I mean, it's not cheap to start.
No, it's not cheap to start, and it is very accessible and relatively easy to buy.
Already.
Right? Already.
Right.
Yeah. And for like, even as someone who grows his own,
it's a hobbyist-driven decision,
right?
Realistically,
right? Yeah. You know, like, how big is your operation really going to be? Because like I've got 2 tents over there and a third space, and it's just like that can keep me going on my own fairly well. But how big do you really want to go?
Yeah.
Do you want to go, like, do you want to supply yourself with strains on strains on strains for the year? Well, then your operation's going to be a little bit bigger. You got to do something a little bit more and put a little more time, a little more effort.
Right.
Or you just go and you buy it or you order it or what have you. And it's just like, it's there, it's on your plate, it's done. So it really comes down to what part do you want to pay for? The convenience or the time? And if you just want the convenience, well, then we take our vote out in terms of how great it's going to be, and you know, and if we're just going to bitch and complain about it.
Yeah,
that's just what we're provided with.
Your parameters start to change a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like then you're talking about how do you want to spend your dollar more than anything else.
Right.
Yeah. Which parts are going to make you happier?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, weigh it, which is worse. But yeah, I'll enjoy forever growing. It brings a zen and just a peace, and the ability to just reap the rewards of hard work is just second to none. And but I will always, or as far as I know, as long as this system continues to straighten itself out, I will continue to participate in the legal system as well, because it's becoming convenient. Yeah. I made the comparison to music one time, where it's like Apple or iTunes, Apple Music made downloading music legally easier than downloading it illegally.
All the steps you had to go through, and then enjoying the good technology, and then you get to streaming and you go, oh no, this is really convenient.
Yes, exactly.
So why am I going through the rest of
these hoops?
Yeah.
I'll pay the 99 cents per song.
Yeah, right.
So, we'll get there. But that's a hell of a conversation, man.
No, it's fun.
As always, if anyone has any questions, they want to put any comments or anything into that, let us know in the comments, man. We appreciate listening to you guys. Don't forget you can follow us at highlymotivatedproductions.ca, Highly Motivated Productions on Instagram, Highly Motivated Productions on X. Sweet, brother. Great combo, man. We'll catch you up next week.
Yes, this was fun. Peace. Guys.